my first TV in my room was a 19-inch, I think it was 19-inch, 19 or 20-inch color TV. But of course, it didn't have remote control, so you had to get up and turn the channel. So I just kept it on channel 11.
I remember my cousin, who is now, Steve is 74. His son is over 50. But he said, there used to be a time when you punished the kids, and the worst punishment for the kids was to send them to their room, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said, I think he said this at his son's bar mitzvah, part of his speech. He said, nowadays you send kids to their room, he says they have their own stereo systems with woofers and tweeters and everything and all kinds of stuff. They have their own TV. Now back then, you're talking about 40 years ago. They didn't have their own computers 40 years ago. But, nowadays, if kids are sent to their room, that's like you're doing them a favor because they don't have to interact with their family. They don't have to talk to anybody.
Now, punishment is go in the living room and talk with your brother.
That's right. And how?
Yeah, but nowadays, none of the kids go out to play anyway, so the mothers and the parents are just, the only way to punish them is like, all right, go outside. Nope, nobody's outside anymore. In my block, well, half the kids are gone anyway because they're all grown up. But, you never see any activity down these blocks anymore. No kids are outside.
True.
They're inside playing video games or... They're on the computers.
When I lived in Brooklyn, okay, now this goes back to, we moved into the projects in 51. But let's say when I was about 7 or 8, okay, so you're talking about 55, 56, when I used to go outside and stay in the front of the building with my friends. We used to play punch ball. We used to play hit the penny, box baseball, stoop ball, And then, of course, when you get older and you're able to walk to the schoolyard yourself, we used to play football, we used to play baseball, stickball. We were so active, and hardly anybody was overweight. We all tended to eat the wrong things because everything had a bunch of sugar. That's why we wound up with a gazillion cavities in our mouth, But we used to do so much running around that's what kept us thin. That's what kept us fit. There was no such thing as childhood obesity.
Yeah, we did the same thing too. As a matter of fact, in the summers, come nighttime, our moms, because when we were teenagers, a lot of my friends, we came from split families, so our moms, were tight. They hung out, and they would come out at night, like about 9 o'clock at night. They'd come down with their snack tables and their coffee and their wine and crackers, and they'd sit down at the benches while we were playing.
Yeah, well, minus the wine, I remember those days. Okay, and I remember,
awesome.
and I remember.
Best days. They were just incredible.
I remember living in the projects, and nowadays projects tend to be, or at least for many people, transient places to live. You're living there a few years and you move on. But we had people in the building who were original tenants like us, and if you did something wrong, it was like you had 5 different mothers. They would say, Mark, I'm going to go tell your mother on you. I saw what you did, and you used to literally worry that, you were going to be ratted out. So you always watched what you did. You tried to be very careful, But
well, you also have to keep in mind with me, I had both my parents living on the same block when they got divorced. When my grandparents moved to Florida, when they retired and moved to Florida, my dad moved back into the original apartment that he lived in. So we literally were 2 buildings away from each other. So I had one group of friends say,
Thank
we'll
you.
tell your mother.
No.
We had another group of friends saying, listen, we know your dad. We know where he is. We're going to tell your father. And I'd be like, fine by me. I think no matter what, I'm going to get in trouble, but this one's going to say something differently. This one's going to say, my mother's going to say, okay, you're grounded. My father's going to say you're not. So it don't matter.
It don't matter to me.
That was a good
Oh,
song.
my God, Felix he's singing. Are you feeling okay, Felix?
No, I'm not.
Now the
I
question
feel
is,
bad for
the
you.
question is, what group sang that song? I remember that song. I'm trying to remember who sang it though. Felix is going to go onto the computer and Google it.
No, I'm not.
Sure. It goes back to the late 60s, early 70s, I believe. Oh, bread. That's it. It was bread. See that?
I said it. Woo-hoo!
I said it before you did, but I remembered. Yeah, it was popular when I was in college. That's what we used to say about all the tests we had to take. It don't matter to me.
Yeah.
I was not one of your better students. Let me put it that way.
You?
Yeah.
And then you became a teacher.
That's why I became a teacher.
My excuse was I was just out that day.
My wife used to tell stories. Her father, every time, his pressure would tend to go high, and he would get a nosebleed. And when he had to take a real important test, he would stress over it on purpose, get a nosebleed, and he would get out of taking the test until the retest. But I remember him telling stories like that.
I used to get out of so many different things. The best thing was, all right, I wasn't really the greatest student. I mean, I was, but school kind of bored me, so I very rarely went to class when I was in high school. I mean, junior year, forget about it. But my mother used to ask me, did you go to school? And I would tell her yes. And technically I did go to school, but she never asked me the right question or the right way to ask me. If you would have said to me, did you go to class? No, I didn't go to class, but I was still in school.
Oh, you see, what they do out here on the island? I don't think they do it in the city yet. And they certainly didn't do it back when I was... Well, first of all, I never cut class. I always went to class. But the bottom line is, out here on the island, if you don't call in, like the parents usually call in by a certain time to let the school know that the child isn't coming in because they're sick, the school calls up the parent to let them know that the kid's not in school. So you couldn't get away with that if you lived out here.
Oh, I get a call when Samantha's not in school.
Is that because, well, like I said, I'm sure things are different now in the city, okay? But, now living on the island, since we're living on the island, the bottom line is, if you didn't call up the school to let them know that the kid wasn't coming to school, they would call you. The only way...
Yeah, no, I get a recording saying your child is not in school. I forget what it says.
Yeah, you got to call up to...
They notify you.
Felix used to spend all his time down at the pool hall. He was like Ralph Cramden. That's how he got his education.
How'd you hear about that?
I watched The Honeymooners. What do you mean?
Oh, okay.
I knew you were going to say that.
It don't matter to me.
There we go, bread.
If you really feel that
All right.
you need some time to be free, time to go out searching for yourself, hoping to find time.
And you know who's singing?
To go to find.
David Gates. David Gates and bread, remember?
It don't matter to me.
He's the lead singer.
If you take up with someone.
Oh boy, did I know my music.
David Gates and the bread.
Let me tell you, my mother used to tell me if I knew my science as well as I knew my music, I could have been a doctor today. And she was right.
So let me ask you, back then when this type of music came out, were you all sitting around in a circle and somebody playing the guitar?
Well, I was in college then. I don't think I don't know if I think maybe one of my friends played the guitar.
We weren't
really.
the talented bunch here. Marcus sang, I guess, a little bit.
What?
We weren't the talented bunch go sitting around and playing guitars. You weren't. You didn't play guitar, did you?
No, I didn't. I never played an instrument, but I always loved to sing. And except for my wife, I always used to be told that I had a good voice.
I told you did.
Somehow she just puts a sock in my mouth,
Yeah. Actually,
what can I tell you?
Yeah.
I used to.
Thank you, Elisa.
I used to play the accordion.
No problem.
Well, you were. That's because, well, I mean, and it's no reflection on your ethnic background, but Polish people always played the accordion. That was very popular, the accordion with Polish
people. I also
people.
played the guitar.
Well, you remember, who is it? Bobby Vinton?
Yeah.
Bobby Vinton.
Bobby Vinton was the Polish prince.
Yeah.
And he really wanted, he had a band, an actual band, like an orchestra type of thing. And he only sang because they needed a singer, but he was called the Polish Prince. And then he made that song, Moje.
Droga,
yeah, exactly. Means that I love you so. You know what's really bad, Elisa? He sings this to me all the time.
I love you all my heart.
I don't know.
We're supposed to be talking about politics and religion. I think we're not there yet.
Yeah, we spoke about politics.
And also Christmas.
We played a Christmas song. I mean, we could play more Christmas songs.
Christmas shopping.
By the time, do you realize that this is the last Friday before next year? Because
we're not going on next Friday.
Next Friday is Christmas.
I'm going on.
Well, you're doing it without me, but next Friday is Christmas.
He's not even a goy, and he wants Christmas off.
Hey, I celebrate everything.
You don't celebrate, especially Friday.
Listen,
Christmas Eve is Wednesday night. Christmas is Thursday night.
I'm taking Christmas off, and I want my pay.
You got it.
You got it. You can even have double pay because it's your holiday now. You could have double pay.
It's my first actual Christmas.
That's right. Yeah, you're actually going to be going to your first. You're going to go to midnight mass.
But that's all Thursday night.
No, I won't be able to make it because Thursday night. Well, Christmas Eve we're at my sister's house in Pennsylvania, so I won't be home in time for midnight mass. We usually go to I think the 10:30 mass on Christmas Day.
Now let me ask you. You're such a good Catholic now. How many times did you go to synagogue when you were Jewish?
Oh, I used to go all the time.
Yeah, when you were a kid, but I mean now. As an adult. As an adult.
I maybe pass by it. It's funny you said that.
You pass by it, yeah.
When my mother's parents were still alive, especially my grandfather, I mean, I would have to go with him to temple, but when he got really, really sick and he couldn't go, I'd say, all right, I'd go for you. I would just stand in front of temple, and again, it would be like the school, did you go to temple? Yeah, I went to temple. Ask me if I went into temple. I mean, I was there. I was on the ground.
I remember.
I wasn't there.
Funny you should say that. I remember one time, one Yom Kippur. Okay, I think this was. I think it was between like between the 6th and maybe 7th grade or something.
Dr. Mark, this is your life.
No, and it was Yom Kippur, and my friends and I followed around a few girls that we knew from school. So I'm thinking of the song, Standing on the Corner, Watching All the Girls Go By, and I told my father what we did, and he said, that's very nice. He said, on Yom Kippur, you're following around a bunch of girls. He says, you were supposed to go to shul. I said, well, we did go to shul. We spent 10 minutes in shul. But you have to understand, my upbringing was basically Orthodox. Orthodox because we belonged to an Orthodox temple, an Orthodox shul. And I used to go to shul every Saturday, and I'd come home, and I would take off my suit or my shirt and tie, whatever I was wearing, and then put on jeans and then go to the schoolyard and play ball all day. Okay? But that's what I did. And
that's what every kid did, though.
Jewish or not? Every kid does that.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like I said before, I used to tell my father, I said, Dad, why